Good evening, everyone. You're very welcome. And a Happy New Year to you all. We'll begin in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. And the Lord be with you. And welcome, friends. We gather for our First Friday devotions. Some people, I was thinking maybe we won't have it, it's too busy, we're just newly after Christmas and so many things are happening in the last few days. And yet First Friday is First Friday. There is something about doing things when they're meant to be done. And we are turning over into a new year, and it's important that we create disciplines, that we begin, we enter into practice, we create good habits. And if we don't practice, if we don't create these habits, well then we're stuck where we are. There's no movement, there's no change. And we can say, oh, I go to Mass and I'm praying my rosary and so on, and that's wonderful, of course, that's part of it. But ultimately, it's about putting good habits. We talk about New Year's resolutions. We put these New Year's resolutions in us. And it's in living our New Year's resolutions, as we create these disciplines of prayer, of sacrifice, of fasting, that this is where the change comes from. And it's appropriate that we're here at the beginning of a new year, because we need this time to allow God to bring us to that place of decision, to bring us to a place of conversion ultimately. But we're deciding and we're creating these resolutions not by our own strength, not by our own spirit, but by God's grace. We're allowing God to be part of what we're about. We're allowing the Lord to inspire us. We're so full of bad habits. We're so full of negativity, and we're so full of judgment of others. We're so critical, and we're so self-centered. And it is the human condition. It is our weakness. It is where we are. But it doesn't have to be like that. You know, some people, you see them and say, oh, that's a real good person there. You could rely on that person. That's somebody with good character. Someone who is honest and loyal. And it doesn't fall out of a tree, you know. It's not something that just one person has it and the other person hasn't. No, that character, that good character came out of years of formation, of practice, of habits, good habits, that created that person that we know as a good person. And then there's another person who is, you'd kind of go, I wouldn't trust that fella now as far as I would throw him. I have to be very careful now. When you're talking to that person, be careful, because you know there's something not right about them. You know they can't be trusted. You know that they're only looking for a story, or they're looking for a bit of gossip. We know these people, and maybe we're the people in our own little way. We have these bad habits. I hope at the end of my life I won't be seen as the priest. Oh, Father John, I don't know about him now. Be careful. It would be terrible after all my years of trying that I would fall into negativity and resentfulness and bitterness and bad habits of talking negatively about other people, judging people and complaining and giving out. Such a bad character to have, isn't it? It'd be terrible. Even Jesus, at Judgment Day, he'll scratch his head. I said, what did I do with this fella? I gave him so many things, and yet here he is before me. So unpolished. It'd be sad that we wouldn't reach our potential, because there is a plan for all of us. There's a plan for holiness, a plan for eternity. But it's now we have to work. The Pentecostals believe that faith gets you into heaven, and we believe that happens too. But we have to work on our faith. We have to work out our salvation. I'm saved today, but I have to be saved tomorrow as well. That's why we live, we practice our faith. We practice our Catholicism. We practice our Christianity. How do I practice it? By living it, by praying, by fasting, by going to Mass, by celebrating the sacraments of confession. A woman came early to me looking for confession. We need confession. Otherwise, there are obstacles to that flow of blessing and grace into our lives. That's why Our Lady in Medjugorje says, pray, go to confession every month. Every 30 days we should confess our sin. Why? Because that's practicing your faith. Because Our Lady knows that we will accumulate so much sin after a month. So much so we'll actually become numb in our conscience. We just get used to gossiping. We get used to judging. So much so we come to confession and we say, Father, I'm a good person. I don't know what I've done wrong. You'll have to help me out. And I say, well, if you're so good, maybe you're the Immaculate Virgin herself. Maybe you're the prophet come again. Maybe you're Jesus. He's returned at last. Huh? No, it's because we're numb. We're not sensitive anymore. We can't see. We're blinded by our sin and our addictions and our negativity. It just becomes our friend. Unfortunately, we can be in bad company sometimes. And that kind of company is no good to us. You are your environment. And if you're surrounded by negativity, you will become negative. You will create that negativity, and it just becomes the normal. And you think this is normal until you meet someone that is good, that is holy and pure. Then you're confused, and you say, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. And surely there is something wrong with you. Thank God you met that person, that they've met you meet your conscience and give you a desire maybe to confess your sin. This is the new year, brothers and sisters. We have to create discipline. You can come here tonight and pray, but are we going to pray tomorrow night and Sunday night? Or are we going to go back into our bad habits? Are we going to go to the pub Saturday evening and stay till the early hours of Sunday? And maybe go again on Sunday till the early hours of Monday? And we'll pray on Tuesday maybe. You know, that's hypocrisy. We pretend to be Catholic on Saturday or on Friday night on First Friday devotions embarking. But who are we tomorrow night? Who is that person? What character is he? What character traits? Is he a holy man? Is he a man of God, or is he all talk and no action? Because I can talk about Jesus till the cows come home. But who am I really? Am I a fake? Or am I authentic in my spirit? Am I someone who genuinely strives to commit himself to what Our Lady in Medjugorje is asking of us? I do find, these First Friday are really an examination of conscience. I find myself being incredibly challenged. And actually, Our Lady shows me, she said, well, John, maybe this is why you're not where you want to be. This is why maybe things aren't working as smoothly as they could be. Maybe this is why you're under so much pressure. Because ultimately you've forgotten that I'm the one that wants to rule in your heart, not you. Not by your strength, but I want you to surrender everything to me. Only then will you be a sign of peace and joy and freedom to others. When you decide for fasting, when you decide on a Wednesday and a Friday that I'm going to eat maybe bread, could I survive on bread for a day and water maybe, no tea, no caffeine, that I could put up with a headache for a day. What a sacrifice. What discipline that would be. Not just next Wednesday, but every Wednesday and every Friday. What a gift that would be for 2026, wouldn't it? How heaven would rejoice. What God could do with us if we were willing to give him Wednesday and Friday. This is it. I wake up Wednesday morning. Here it is, Lord. Here it is. It's all yours. I'm giving you this day. I'm giving you my body. I'm dying to myself. I am sacrificing, putting it on a plate. It's the only thing that's going to be on the table today. It's me and my hunger. Friends, it's a hunger that will disappear when you put God first, when you accompany your fasting with prayer. Fasting by itself is useless because you just get hungry. You don't know why you're fasting. You start complaining. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But when you pray and fast, now you can do something with the fasting. Now prayer becomes 10 times more accessible because now you're not distracted. Now you know that for the whole day I won't be eating, so there's no point in thinking about what's in the fridge. There's no point in thinking about what I'm going to have at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, because I'm not going to have anything, only bread and water. I'm going to fast all day. And so you are free of that need to satisfy the body. I'm going to stop smoking next Wednesday. Maybe I'm putting the bar a bit too high, am I? That's a hard one now to swallow. Hold on now, Father John. I'm only here to say me a few prayers. Don't push it out too far now. But what if you went 2026 without smoking a cigarette? You'd probably add 5 years to your life, even if you went back on the cigarettes. You might gain another, if you give them up for good, you could gain 10 years. So rather than die at 70, you could die at 80. Be good 10 years, wouldn't it? Nice to have 10 years to be with the grandchildren, to pray and to get to know the Lord and retire and enjoy your retirement. Put your feet up. Maybe go to Santa Ponza and drink a few Bacardi Breezers. Why not? You deserve it. But it'd be terrible to get cancer when you're 60. Lung cancer. I think that's what killed my uncle. He was a priest, smokeaholic. The fags killed him. He lost 10 years, definitely, because they all lived, and they're still alive, and they're all nearly 90 now. They're still alive. I come from a hardy clan. Hard-working people. Makes you live longer, I think, because you're exercising your body becomes strong. It carries you for longer. But if you pollute it with nicotine and tar and smoke and alcohol and drugs, the old drugs kill the brain, don't they? They do. They just destroy you from the brain cells just decompose. And the terrible thing is you don't even see it happening. It's the people that see you say, oh God, poor old Mary. She doesn't look the best now. She's an inch short of where she should be, I think. But if she stopped taking drugs today, she'd be perfect in a month. She'd come back to herself. Those cells would rejuvenate themselves. She stopped smoking, stopped drinking. She'd be a new person, wouldn't she? Obviously, she'd have to do a bit of praying. But it'd be very easy when you're not hungover on a Monday morning, when you're not smelly in your clothes and your breath, when you're not out of breath, you can run for the bus and not be late for Mass. All of this is good conversation. I'm happy to talk about it. I'm happy to challenge myself and all of us. Let's all be real about our New Year's resolutions and not skip this most important time of the year. And if you're afraid, well, that's where God comes in, you see, because Jesus said, do not be afraid. Jesus said, I am always with you to protect you, to help you, to provide for all your needs. Because underneath all this addiction actually is a great deep wound of insecurity and fear. We see it in fear, anxiety, stress, panic. And we're using the drugs to kind of calm us down a bit. And you just get addicted, of course. Isn't that it? I need a cup of tea. I need a coffee, another coffee, 4 coffees, 5 coffees. And then we're on heart tablets. So we're popping pills. We're all prescribed medication. But if we could just eat and drink properly and rest and sleep, everything would come back to normal when we wouldn't pollute ourselves. Because what comes in goes out. And if goodness comes into me, I will become what I consume. Good food, healthy body, good sleep, energy, low blood pressure, low sugars. And if I don't sleep, if I'm up watching the internet at 2 o'clock in the morning every morning, I'm addicted to the YouTubes and TikToks and everything. If I live in that way and I'm up then at 7 in the morning or whatever time to go to work, and I live in 5 or 6 hours miserable and bad humour for the day, but physically it has detrimental effects on us. I've researched it. Your sugar levels, because when you wake up tired, your body needs energy, so it looks for more insulin. Of course, the insulin pushes up your sugar, and then you're pre-diabetic before you know it. That's how it works. Diabetes isn't just from food and sugar. Yes, that's all part of it. But sleep is such a part of it. If I'm not getting 7 or 8 hours sleep, they recommend. When was the last time I can't remember when I had 8 hours sleep. Can anyone here put up their hand? My God. And it's supposed to be normal. But that's the problem. We're not living normally. We're polluting ourselves. And we're putting our bodies under incredible stress. And we wonder why we can't pray. But sure, we don't have the energy to pray. We don't have the strength. You can close the door there. Thanks, Clara. So what's going to happen tonight? Are we going to be surprised that we came to St. Thomas More? We didn't realize what was going to be asked of us, not by me, but by God, by our conscience, which is the voice of God. We have so many bad habits, and the only way to stop a bad habit is to create the opposite, a good habit. If I'm gossiping about people and I have a habit of gossiping about people, well, the only way I will kill that bad habit is I have to learn to speak good about people, not bad. So I have to practice talking about Billy Murphy up the road. Everybody's talking about Billy Murphy. He's unreal, isn't he? He is. But I'm not going to talk about him today. I'm going to tell you something good about Billy. Did you see he got a haircut? And it's quite good, actually. I even asked him, I complimented him. Poor fella, he got such a fright. He didn't think I was even talking to him. Of course, he didn't realize that I wasn't talking to him, because he's not worth talking to as far as I can see. But I said, no, I will look for the good in this man. When I find the good, I will focus on it. And so I made it my business to cross the road. And I said, Billy, how are you? Just noticed you got a great haircut there. Well done. Where did you go? What barbers? And he won't know what hit him. But that's just one day. I must do that the next day, because I will fall back into my negative habit very quickly. It takes 7 days, actually, to kind of recreate habit. It takes 7 days. And then it takes the next level of habit. For it to become part of your character, it takes 21 days. This is science. They tell us, science. For our brains to change the way they think. Because everything is unconscious, subconscious. 95% of what we do is actually habitual. It's subconscious. Just the way I stand, the way I speak. All this is, I don't think about it. It's subconscious thinking. And the same the way I react to my habits, whether it's for good or for bad. So if I'm picking my nose, is that good or bad? Bad habit. So I say to myself, well, today I won't pick my nose. And every 10 minutes, oh, gee, stop. I have to put something, a plaster on my finger to stop myself. And I'll still want to do it tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. 7 days before I kind of do it, because I'm doing something else now. Doing something creative, something good. 21 days. And then it's 64 or 62 days, 2 months, before it is finally knocked on the bud. Can you see how hard it is to change? We're so habitual. We can bring it into unforgiveness and negativity and resentment, and I'll never forgive that fella. No. I'll never forgive him. How deeply ingrained that habit of negativity is inside us. He doesn't deserve it, you know. Well, if you want to stay in hell, you just stay in that habit. Stay in that unforgiveness. But if you practice forgiving, if you practice loving, if you practice looking for the good in the other person, if you practice speaking good, what happens is you start to come back to life because you are dead. Every negativity is killing the cells in the membrane of my brain. I'm physically dying through my negativity, through my anger and hatred. I am. That's why we feel depressed. It's just negative, negative, negative. It's poison, 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 spiritual poison that destroys you physically. You are literally dying. This is where cancer comes from. Not all cancers. There's environmental cancer we can get from the environment around us. But I can create cancer cells inside me. Or if I live immorally, if I do something immoral, cancer shows its ugly face because it just makes sense for it to appear. If you are in this self-destruction, well, no better thing to help you than to have a cancer cell in your system. I knew someone who was terminally ill with cervical cancer. And she came for prayer, and that person who prayed with her discerned that she came not by herself, but she came with her partner, the man she was not married to, even though she was married. And the woman was on her death's door, literally, and he prayed with her and he said to her, he said, "The Lord wants to heal you." She said, "Just tell me, what do I have to do?" He said, "You have," and she startled him because he startled her because he said, "You have to leave the man that brought you here today. And you have to go to confession." And he questioned her because he could see that she was wearing a coil, which was a contraceptive, which was immoral. And he told her, he said, "If you take out that coil, confess your sin, leave that man, God will heal you." And she did. She went to confession. And she confessed it, and she went to the doctor. She removed the coil. And she left the man. And today she lives to tell the tale. How is that possible? In one sense, it makes every sense, doesn't it? Because you're cooperating with the law of the Spirit, the law of truth, the law of goodness. And when you decide for what is good, the whole power of God comes upon